What's up YouTube, and welcome to another project video for the Porsche 928. Today we're going to be adding windshield side strip seals as an upgrade for my 1988 S4. If you have a 928, you may be aware that they made some changes along the way to the windshield seals. And one thing that is common on these, I'll show you the other side because I haven't taken it off, is that if you have kind of one of the mid-year period cars, so like maybe, I don't know, 84 to 90, you'll notice that your side strips here on the side of the windshield have a considerable air gap underneath. So a very large gap there. Originally, the design was to enable water flow underneath here. The rumor is that you could then have the window down when it rains and then, you know, wouldn't have any water getting into the car. However, I get a lot of wind noise from the car, so anything that I can do at highway speeds to reduce some of the wind noise would be appreciated. So I'm going to attempt a late period 928 update that they made. This was introduced, I believe, on 1991 era cars, so really when the production numbers started to falling, and carried all the way through the end of the run in 95 with the GTS models. Basically what this does is it adds a rubber strip that goes along the side of that pillar underneath the rail trim and will change the flow of the water so that it actually flows over and not underneath the strip there. The side benefit I'm looking for is that hopefully that's going to reduce some of that wind noise at speed, so cross my fingers and see if that works. But these strips are rather expensive, I will warn you that. And if you have a car that is, I think, pre-84, you also have to buy the different trim pieces, which aren't as expensive to work. But if you have an S4 era car, you know, kind of 87 to 90, you'll be fine with the side trim pieces as is. So you really just need to buy the rubber strips. As you can see, the top of the new strip has a little edge too, so like that's going to catch the water and make it flow over the windshield, not underneath the drip strip, I guess. And let me show you the part numbers for these because they are directional, so you need to order one for each side of the car with a different part number. So here we have 928 559 520 0070C. And then the other one is 928 559 519 0070C. I think that's really the only difference is that middle digit there. But these came right away. They actually, I thought I was going to have to wait for them to show up from Germany, and a Porsche dealer online actually had in-stock inventory. So kind of interesting. Maybe a lot of people are buying these. But one thing I noticed is they do come with a whole lot of powder on the rubber, and probably just to preserve it for, you know, shelf life. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have a warm bucket of soapy water. I'm going to use that just to get the powder a little bit clean on these, and also I think that's going to make them a little bit more pliable as I go to add them into the side of the windshield here. I have gone ahead and peeled off very carefully the side trim piece here. One thing to note about my car is the windshield was replaced right before I bought it a couple years ago. I think something fell on it and they did do a nice job. They replaced it with the proper Porsche glass, no aftermarket stuff. But one thing I noticed when I pulled the trim off is that it looks like it has some residue from the original factory sealing here, and then there's some residue from some silicone sealing that they used when they added the new windshield in. So these trim pieces have been off a couple times. They actually popped off pretty readily. Yours may be a little more difficult if it's still got the factory sealing, which I think, again, you see a little bit of that down here. So that's really the first step. Again, I'm just going to soak those in the water for a little bit, and then I'm going to try to gently work those into place, being very careful not to crack the glass. That's kind of the big warning I've heard on these. I definitely don't want to make that mistake. And I'm going to cut here for a second just before I can get it started. I want to make sure that I get a good game plan, and then I'll give you an update as I've got these in progress, so hang tight. All right, just giving an update in progress here. I have added the new seal underneath the drip rail here on the side. It is a pretty tight fit. Definitely recommend the soapy water to get that in there. And then you see it kind of curves over and underlaps to about right here. So kind of has a nice extension there. And then what you'll see on the back end is the rain is actually going to go over the seal now instead of underneath that rail. So we'll have a little bit different flow to it. This is pretty tough to get the trim rail back on top, so I've been messing with it back and forth a few times. You can see I got soapy water all over the place. So I'm trying to really just work it in. It's interesting, these later trim pieces, the reason the ones from the mid-period S4 still work with the late design rail, or the rubber seal, is that it has a little bit of a lip to it. I don't know if you can kind of see that there. And then that actually slides into this back gutter of this. So basically you have to line up the lip and then also tuck the front underneath this piece here. I know that's not really a great explanation, but it's very fiddly. I've been messing this for a while, and I still have to do the other side, obviously, too. I think it can be done. I'm gonna maybe take a breather here and see if I can figure out anything else that might make this go a little more smoothly. But the soapy water definitely is helping. It's giving, it's making everything more pliable, so definitely recommend using that. But that's an update in progress. Ultimately this trim rail needs to go back about like that in place and lock in so that it'll hold the new trim rubber in place. So that's what I got going on. I'll give you another update hopefully once I have that on there, and then of course we'll have to tackle the other side. So that's what's going on. I'll be back in a few. Okay, so update time. About 3 hours have gone by because I'm an idiot. And it took taking a look at a photo of a late GTS car to figure out what I was doing wrong. So remember how I said they were directional? Yeah, they totally are. And I had them directional as I thought, but they were upside down. And so I was really having a bear of getting the trim piece back on. And then by looking at the photo, it was very clear what I was doing wrong. So don't be like me. Here's how you can tell that you did it right. There is, this clip will come out when you take the trim piece out, as I showed you before. But when you put the seal in, it's going to loop around to about right there on the top. And then it also has like a little bitty chunk right there. And that's going to catch the rain coming off the gutter there and deflect it around the front. So that's how you can tell. When I had it upside down, this was actually pointed this way, which didn't work obviously. So if it very quickly actually going this direction, once I figured all that out, and the seal actually went in very nicely. So you can kind of see how it lines up. Comes to a little point here, just right above the body seam, and then the seal itself ends right before that, which should direct the rain over the windshield and then out, and hopefully the wind as well. That's really what I'm looking for here. So this is one in. One other thing I did just after I got it in is I treated it with some Gummifläche, which is German rubber seal conditioner, and I always feel it's a good thing to use on your rubber seals. Used it for years. But that's one of these in, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and I'll probably do a wrap-up from that one. And then ultimately I'd like to take this thing on a test drive and see if it actually reduces some of my wind noise. So stay tuned for that. Don't be like me. Let's just close this clip out with that. This is a lot easier than I made it out to be. All right, so the passenger side went in about 1,000,000 times faster than the driver's side once I figured out what I was doing. And you can kind of see the results here. It turned out pretty nice. It has a nice flush fit with the seal, and I think that's going to give it hopefully some better wind resistance than what I was experiencing with the factory trim where it had that gap there. So that's really what the goal of all this is. But you can see it's got, again, that little lip that points off to the side. This piece wraps to about there, not real far. And then obviously it follows all the way down to the tip there at the edge of the windshield, and then the water will flow out to the side there. This is my finishing touch as far as this step. This is the stuff I was talking about before. This is the Gummifläche stick. I've used this for years. It's really good stuff. And ultimately it's good for any rubber seals. So you just squeeze the sponge applicator on it and just run down the strip there. Try to use this stuff about twice a year, and it really does help with keeping rubber seals fresh. So hopefully that will turn out nice. I'm going to do my test drive of this tomorrow. It's actually late at night now since I've spent so much time figuring out the driver's side and what I did wrong. But thanks for watching up to this point, and I'll give an update hopefully with this thing quieted down. Really, it was above 70 miles an hour. It was when I was getting a lot of wind noise, so that's where I'm hoping to see the improvement. But hang tight, and I'll give an update on that tomorrow once I can get it out for a test drive. Thanks. Alright, so here it is the next day, and we are driving at good highway clip. And guess what? It is amazingly quieter in this car. Really impressed with the difference that made. I wish I'd done a before video. It's really remarkable how much quieter it is inside, especially at elevated speeds. So, like I said, great improvement. Highly recommend adding those strips for any 928 owner that does not have them, if you don't have a 91 to 95 car that came with them. And thank you very much for watching. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.